Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 287.
Welcome to another edition of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're heading out to Ohio today. We're going to connect with Doug DeHarpart. Doug is the owner and creator of Created Outdoors. What's Created Outdoors all about? Well, it's about the creator and what he's done in the outdoors so you and I and thousands and millions of other people can enjoy the sport of hunting, and particularly chasing whitetails. Doug's got a 10-acre parcel that, folks, you're not going to believe the bucks he's taken off that piece of land the last few years. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Doug DeHarpart and Created Outdoors.
Hey, folks, we got a special for you. The 2016 Rut Forecast by AJ Gall and Audrey Faffey. Yes, it's available right now by texting 33444 Rut Report. That's 33444 Rut Report.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're going to meet with an old friend. Doug was on the show about a year ago. Doug DeHarpart is the owner and creator of Created Outdoors. Doug, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bruce. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we're doing some good things right now. I'm sitting here with some editors of our show, Alex and Aiden Wolf, and we're taking some time out of our day to interview with Whitetail Rendezvous.
Well, I really appreciate it, and I'm really excited to hear about what's really going on and what's happened in the last year that's got you to this point today.
Well, you know, I left the other show that we were a part of. We wish those guys the best. God called me out and gave us a bigger vision for something that is kingdom-oriented, and we're very proud to put our faith first and the hunting second. Hunting's just a bonus. You get to be able to go outside and spend time with friends and family, but the most important thing that we have in our lives is our faith.
And so when you wind that through, I know in the warm-up we just talked about church, and I'll just put it out there, you know, church to me is what we're doing right now, men of equal mind. And when I get out in the wilderness, when I'm in a tree stand, when I'm, you know, in a goose pit, wherever I am, you know, there's just something special about that sunrise or that sunset. You know, how does that weave into Created Outdoors?
You know, I think my saying is, you know, we have those God-created moments. You know, I think when you spend that time in the deer stand on a cold, frosty morning and you hear that deer come walking through the woods and it sounds like a freight train, or you hear that turkey gobbling up on that roost on a cold spring morning. Those are God-created moments, and I think a lot of people look past those just as a, you know, there's a turkey or here's a deer and I'm going to shoot him. When we really want to reflect on, you know, God created that moment for us. God created those creatures for us, and you know, for us to be stewards of, and for us to take harvest over, if that's His will for that animal at that particular time. So we really, you know, give it all back to God. It's all His anyways, and who knows how many hunts that we'll be able to enjoy here on Earth. You know, we hope there's many, many more, but you know, if it's our time to go home, it's our time to go home. But you know, to just be able to share that with the viewers and let them know that, you know, God created all this stuff to bring glory to Him.
Now, are you doing just whitetail hunting and turkey hunting? Tell me what the show's really going to bring, you know, to the viewers.
You know, basically deer hunting and turkey hunting, those are the two things here that I grew up doing in Ohio and traveled the country to do. We did do some bear hunting this year, so we'll have a deer hunting episode from West Virginia, but primarily whitetail and turkey.
Now, how do you find the places you're going to go? Obviously, you have one tag in one state. Some states do have two tags, like Nebraska.
Right.
But how do you make that all work? I guess that's my question.
Well, we have people that have reached out to us and present opportunities for us at lower no cost to come and spend a week in the woods with them and fellowship with them, and it's a real big blessing just to be able to travel and spend those times with friends, new friends and old friends.
So they'll reach out to you and let you come on their property, and then you'll do your show. Now, how many cameramen do you have?
I'm actually a cameraman. I was blessed this past week to have a good friend, Joe Willis, come up, and I filmed him all week here in Ohio, and he killed a real nice mature 6-pointer on film. So, we don't per se have cameramen. We have a crew of guys that are passionate about capturing that God-created moment on film, and we're all equal. There's nobody on the team that's bigger, badder, or better than the next guy. We are the Bible says iron sharpens iron, and we are an iron sharpening team, and that's just the way we roll together.
Yeah, Joe Willis, he was on the show a while back, and he's connected with the Treason crew, Cobb Sanders and Tina Kane, and
yep.
It goes on and on. Now, I think you're connected with those guys. How are you connected with Treason?
Yeah. So we, when we first started Created Outdoors, we wanted to do something that was just different from other shows. And when first time I laid eyes on Treason camouflage was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And, I fell in love with the pattern. I loved the pattern. I started talking to John on the phone and helping promote their brands. And we're very proud to announce that they are a commercial sponsor for Created Outdoors for 2017. So you guys will see a lot of cool stuff from Treason, commercials and footage during the show. That we had a lot of success with Treason camouflage this past year.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm going to just give a shout out for John Sanders and the whole Treason tribe, because collectively, as a man, down to the men and women of their tribe, it's a unique situation that I haven't seen really in a long time in the outdoor industry. And I don't know if you agree with that, but just to a man and to a woman, it's something different. And listeners all across North America, there's something about Treason that is different. And the camel pattern, everybody has a camel pattern. There's lots of them. But their camel pattern, in my opinion, works. And that's why I buy camel, because I want it to hide me.
Yep.
But it's the people in all different walks of life. I know Tina Kane, she has a legal background, and she does a lot of work for Treason, and she does work in corporate America and contracts with sports athletes and blah, 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 stuff like that. But just the people they've drawn in. Why do you think that is? I know we're getting off Created Outdoors, but this is something special, and I think there's a reason for it.
I think it's a family type atmosphere at Treason. Everybody gets along really well. Everybody's looking to go the same direction to build the brand, and but the pattern just speaks for itself. I always think when I'm lucky enough to speak at a church or travel, their philosophy is just don't blend, become, and that's a real big part of the message of Created Outdoors. We're not called to blend in or conform to the modern days of the world of man and what it is today. We are called to become leaders and advisors and mentors and men of Christ, and So one of the things is I absolutely love just don't blend, become, because it's a higher calling.
Yeah, and I agree with you. 100% on that. So, folks, check out Treason Camel. You just find them, on Facebook, Google them. They got great patterns. They're very fairly. Their price points are very fair. There's a lot of products coming down the road. There's great people on the Treason tribe, and I was talking to Tina about how she selects or how they select people for the tribe and their pro staff, and it's different. So, folks, if you're looking for free gear, don't just go to Treason. If you're looking to get involved with other people's lives and carry forth a mission statement, then you might connect with Tina Kane or John Sanders, Matt Murphy, and check it out. So shout out for you, Cobb Sanders. So anyway, let's get back to Created Outdoors. So, what's on tap for this year? When are people going to be able to see it? How do they reach out to you today? Tell me if somebody says, hey, I want to know more about these guys, how do they do that, Doug?
Sure. Well, obviously they can go to createdoutdoors.com, check us out on our website, Facebook, Created Outdoors, and Pursuit Channel. We are going to start airing January on Pursuit Channel. We're going to air 13 episodes, and it's going to be Friday night, 7:30 on Pursuit Channel. And we have a really special crew of talented editors that are just putting together a killer show for you guys. And we're actually, I'm sitting amongst these guys here today to start doing interviews and stuff. So we're working on the first 3 episodes already today to get into the production line here, turned into Pursuit.
Well, let's get Alex and Aiden on the line here. Say, Alex, how did you get involved with Created Outdoors?
Well, Doug and got together with Scott Nice from 30-6, and they were talking about starting up the Created Outdoors hunting show. And Scott Nice is a good friend. He goes to our church. We saw that he was talking about it on Facebook, and so we messaged him and asked him if he would need any editors. And he said, let me get in contact with Doug. So he talked to Doug, sent us his contact information, and just kind of went from there.
It's kind of funny, Bruce, how it worked out. The Lord always provides. And, when Created was started, we're a ministry first, a hunting show second. And everybody asked, oh, are you guys going to do TV? You going to do this? You going to do that? And I said, the very first Facebook post I ever made, I said, we're going to be whatever God creates us to be. That's what we're going to be. It wasn't 4 days later that Scott had called me and said, hey, these guys reached out to me. They're really good Christian guys. They go to church with us. They have a lot of editing skill, and they want to be part of the team. And it was right off the rip a blessing that fell in our lap from Created that the Lord delivered.
Now, is Scott part of your deal too from 30-6?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Scott's, we were just doing some interviews downstairs, and I was talking about how I shot one of his pet deer off of his 9 acres and, last year. But, I shot a 152 last year. And that's when God started really start talking to me about the outdoors and casting the vision to me. But, so Scott's a really, really close friend and a great guy for us to have.
Yeah, I've had him on the show, and I enjoy him, and hopefully down the road, I'll be, we'll do some sponsorship with them, because I'd like to have them, as part of what we're building here. And it's funny what you said, because, with both surgeries, I took 22 days and went to the mountains, came out of the mountains, and the surgeon said, you got a torn bicep and torn rotator cuff. I don't know how you've hunted for 22 days, but, that's what you got. So let's get it fixed. And that blew out my fall. But, I think of the guys and that I talked to, just like you guys, because vicariously now I'm living, the fall hunts through all my guests. So let's talk a little bit about Joe Wills's hunt. If you could give us just a few minutes about, how his hunt went, what you did to set him up in the right place, and how he got that good buck on the ground.
Yeah, so, we've actually had a really good year this year at Created Outdoors, and I tagged out really early, and I turkey hunted with Joe in the spring, and I told him, I said, hey, feel free to come up and hunt here with me. Well, in the meantime, my best 40-acre farm that I had got completely logged and demolished, and it made it really tough. But we went and hung a brand new stand and saw a lot of mature deer. We saw 60 deer on our first day of hunting, and after 2 days, I told Joe, I said, we're seeing a lot of deer on the stand. It's an observation stand. We're observing all these deer. We have only had a couple close encounters. We got to get more aggressive and move into somewhere where these rutting bucks are actually traveling. Instead of walking 100 yards, we need them to be at 20. So I have a stand location on my property. I call it the Eagle's Nest, and it's a big pinch point, big funnel where these deer come off in the evening time, and they cruise the ridge looking for does. And we weren't in the stand at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This buck, and I'll share the scene with you. So I'm hunting on the property line between my property and the neighbors, and this deer comes walking off the neighbor's property onto our property, and we captured the whole thing on film, and it was just a magnificent hunt on a nice mature Ohio 6-pointer that had a head that looked like a giraffe.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, just a big body animal.
And how close was it?
He shot him at 22 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Neat stuff. So, let's just give a couple of insights here. So you had an observation stand. You're seeing the deer. They were moving, but you weren't on top of them, right?
No, they were just too far away for us to shoot, and so I ended up changing stand locations from a neighboring property that we have permission to hunt to my 10 acres that obviously is mine and we have permission to hunt. But the cool thing is I was blessed to be able to harvest mid 160s whitetail off my 10 acres this year, and then we killed this other buck who's a mature buck off the same 10 acres. So people buy hundreds of thousands of acres of property to grow mature deer, and we killed 200 and some inches of antler off of 10 acres.
Now, listeners, take that to heed. Okay, it was a pinch point or it's a funnel. There's got to be some topographical reasons why the deer are using that 10 acres. But worthy of note is if you don't have to buy 100 acres like the farm I hunt. All in it's almost 1,000 acres. Most of it is cropland, and about a third of it is timber. But you need to find the place that the deer are going to use it running. And how do you do that? You do that in the wintertime. You don't do it any other time. You just look for the trails. You look for where they crisscross and where the funnels are and topographical. There might be a saddle. There might be some draws or creek bottoms that come in, and then they create a pinch point, and then they expand out of there. Your thoughts on that, Doug? Why your 10 acres, is a factory?
Yeah, well, I call it the grocery store. I plant my food plots, put in watering holes, run mineral sites, run feed, and so the neighbors don't hunt the way I hunt. We try to hunt smarter, not harder, and we let these deer do what deer do, and we don't put pressure on them. We only hunt when the wind's right. We know the travel corridors, what they're doing. We're running our trail cameras. When the trail cameras tell us it's close to time, then we'll go in and we spend the time and do our homework.
And tell me about the topography. Is there swamp? Is it ridges? Just how is it set up?
Yeah, it's a power line cutout with the oak ridge on one side and the low bottom on the other side. These whitetails bed up on this top oak ridge, and an hour or so before dark they funnel down to go to the power lines that's planted with Eagle Forge broadside, and they come down to eat, and they can walk over and get a drink when they're done, and in a low pressure situation.
And so your neighbors, are they, if during hunting season, if it's brown, it's down, or what's their interest?
I think when I first bought the property, it was a lot, everybody wanted to shoot a deer, and now, I'm only managing the 10 acres that I own, but the neighbors are really starting to pick up and see that, if you let them go, they grow, kind of thing. So it's starting to pay off better for everybody.
Yeah, and that's I've had some people on from QDMA, and that's what you talk about. Try to be good neighbors. If you're not good neighbors, try to mend some fences in the summertime with barbecue.
If they're not good neighbors, you just build a bigger fence. Keeps the deer on your property.
That could be true. Yeah, I'm just thinking a lot of different ways to go with that. I'm just going to leave that there. So how about you, Alex? Did you get a chance to take a deer this year?
No, not yet. We're actually from Logan, Ohio, it's about 30 minutes from Athens, Ohio. So we're down south, and there hasn't been a lot of deer movement at all down in our location. We actually just I got a text from my brother. He's down home, and he just checked our camera card, and we got a couple good bucks just starting to move now with those. So it's been a late rut down where we are.
Well, and everybody told me that the 14th with that super moon, that was kind of, that's quote unquote the ruddy moon. So you have to just, work it out from there. And boy, I've found some differences. I've got a guy's farm up in Birchwood, Wisconsin, that he just wasn't seeing anything. And he's got some good acreage. And then, down where our farm is down in, let's say north of Madison, we were going, 2 weeks ago, and yet Sunday we killed the second biggest buck of the year, and he was nose on the ground trailing. So I don't know, everybody has forecasts, but what do you think about that, Doug? About, everybody says, well, it's this, it's that, this is pre-rut and chasing and seeking and lockdown. How's that all working with what you got going on?
you hear different things from different people, and I think, again, it comes to, the deer movement. What do your cameras tell you? You might as well not even go hunt in the woods if the camera's not showing deer movement, Use the cameras to your advantage. Don't pressure your deer. If the neighbors want to pressure them, that's fine. Hopefully they pressure them to your property, and that's a big thing for us. If the bucks are locked down, the does and the bucks still have to get up. They got to eat, and they got to drink. So it all reverts back to the grocery store. If you got the food and the water, then you're going to have the does and the bucks. That's just the way it works.
Now, how many days a year do you hunt your 10 acres, do you think?
This year I hunted 3 evenings and killed that 160.
So, folks, listen to that. Okay, you got a really neat setup, but he took the wind right. He picked the right stand, and he knew because of his trail cams, that the bucks were moving. So he stacked all the odds in his place, snuck in there. I'm sure he snuck in there, watched the scent, and he was there in the right time, in the right place. But all the rest of the time, when people are saying, "Oh, I got to get in the woods," he didn't. He waited till it was the right time. Doug,
I'll tell you something else. I'll tell you something else that I do that people think I'm crazy, and I just showed Joe Willis this. But I go up and I check my cameras on my Ranger. I drive my Ranger right up to the cameras. I leave the Ranger run. I never shut it off. I go through my feed routine. And I'll have deer come to the cameras 15 minutes after I leave on the Ranger because they know it's the feed wagon. And, Joe and I drove up on the top the day he harvested his deer. We drove up there, and the oak leaves up there, sounds like you're walking through a field of popcorn. I mean, it's just incredibly loud. And I told Joe when we went up to check the trail camera, I grabbed my 40-volt Ryobi leaf blower, and I said, I need you to follow me down this hill as I blow these leaves off. And he looked at me and said, You're crazy. What are you doing? I said, when we come back up here to hunt tonight, these deer are going to be on their normal pattern. They're not going to be spooked. They're going to hear the Ranger run. They'll never hear the cordless blower run. And we're going to blow the leaves off the path. That way, when we come walking them on foot, these deer aren't going to know we're here. And, we killed that deer 2 hours after we were in the stand at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because that deer had no clue that we were there.
So, folks, man, we're getting some good stuff. So, one, he blew out, there's oak leaves all over their crunch, walking on crunchies. So he blew them away. He let the Ranger run. He said, oh, that's food. They associate it just like our farm. When Eddie puts the manure, he's out plowing, whatever Eddie's doing, on the thing, the deer don't care. They'll stand literally and watch him. I've been in the cab, and he goes, oh, there's a deer there. There's a deer there. Oh, see there. And they just look and they go, oh, yeah, the farmer in the truck. And they know they could completely care less. Plus a tip he just gave, a cordless blower. He blows away the leaves, and you can do it. You just heard Doug say you can do it like hours before you're going to hunt. Why? Because it's a natural thing. It happens all the time. It's no big deal. It's part of where they live. Right, Doug?
Yep, exactly right. And like I said, if you went up there with the blower and you just ran the blower all by itself, it's going to freak the deer out. But, leaving if your normal feed pattern on the four-wheeler, the Ranger, the car, or the truck, whatever it is, leave that thing running so they can hear that. They know in the back of their mind it's food, it's safety, it's nothing that's ever bothered them before. And then run the blower because they're not going to hear the blower over top of that Ranger. So it's just a little secret that we do.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's these little things, and I tell people all the time, if you're not journaling, what you're doing, do it, because you're going to find the prime times on your land when you should be in your stand, and then the rest of the time, go hunt someplace else. Just do something else.
Right.
And if you do that, you can do exactly what you and Joe did. You had it pinned, you went in, got your job done, and in the end, I love spending time in the woods, but I do want to put a period because I love summer sausage and I love venison jerky. And, I enjoy sharing that with my friends at Christmas time when I give them a stick of, summer sausage.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
So let's get back. Aiden, we haven't heard from you. What's your claim to fame in this outfit?
I guess I'm the video editor for the TV shows and kind of a cameraman as well. I went down up with Scott to the mountains in West Virginia and filmed some bear hunts. We didn't actually get any kill shots on film, but it was still a fun time to go and just hang out and kind of be on the same page as everybody, because you're out in the mountains, there's no cell service, no internet, and it's just kind of relaxing, and it just reminds you of kind of how God created that whole environment for us to enjoy.
Now, is this a full-time job for you and Alex, or explain, do you go to school, or are you working jobs, or what's going on there?
Me and Alec, along with our dad, we own a company called Lexi Media, and we're kind of doing it part time because this spring we're going back to college. We took a break to kind of work on the business, but we're going to be going back to college this spring, and yeah, we're going to try to do it both part time on both.
Now, did you get to hunt this fall yourself?
Yeah, I did. I haven't had a chance of seeing anything real big, but it's still fun to go out and see the animals walk through the woods nonetheless.
Well, yeah, that's for darn sure. So what on the Pursuit channels that's coming up, what are you looking for to do this coming year for shows, Doug?
Well, our shows are going to be all biblically centered shows. We want to have a good Bible message in each show, that's a good level-headed way of reaching people for the kingdom and just see the camaraderie we have amongst us guys. And that we're, really a brotherhood, and that we have something really special going on here.
Now, are you going to do the bear hunt in Canada? And what type of shows can people expect to see you producing this year?
Well, I mean, a lot of mature deer harvests. We have, I couldn't even tell you. I think probably 8 deer harvests, I think, on film right now. We have 3 really good harvests in Ohio. Ryan Zickerfoos, team member, and I went to Pennsylvania. We killed 2 good bucks on film with our new breed bows in Pennsylvania. And so I'm getting ready to leave to go to Missouri in a couple of weeks, and maybe Texas and North Carolina. So we should have a bunch more good footage.
And when you talk about biblically based show, I know Closing the Distance, Matt Moore. Are you familiar with Matt? Do you know Matt?
Yeah, Matt the treason guy.
Right, and one thing he does, he has a guy that comes on the end of the show and gives a word. And
gotcha.
I don't know if you've ever watched his show, but it's kind of unique. The guy's an older gentleman, and Matt's known him forever. And like Matt said, most of the time, that's the best part of the whole show.
Yeah, amen. Yep, it is. Harvesting an animal is something that's temporary, and harvesting a soul for the kingdom is something that's eternal. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Just grow the kingdom one man, one heart at a time, and try to make a difference and hit our mark for the kingdom.
So if you had to encapsulate, we're sitting in a coffee shop, and I said, well, tell me what Creative Outdoors is all about. Can you just share that and articulate that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Created Outdoors is like I say, we're a ministry first, a hunting show second. And, we all, God created every one of us, every listener, to the show. God spoke us into existence. He created us. And we all have a plan, a purpose, in a future for his kingdom. And, the Bible says, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of Christ. And, it doesn't matter how much dirt, how much sin that you've had in the past. Today's a new day. And God created all that stuff, all those trials and tribulations for you to go through, so you would have a story to tell of change and difference, and the trial and the tribulation and how good he is. And we want to encapsulate that and bring it to the viewers in a real way that they can relate to.
And thanks for that. And we're at the time of the show right now, guys, that you get about 90 seconds, 120 seconds, give some shout outs, and then we'll wrap the show.
Sure. Yeah, we're very blessed to be part of Sandy America. Sandy is a $8 billion a year corporation. They have been our title sponsor for Created Outdoors. Very blessed by the fellowship and the friendship that we have with those guys. Trees and Camouflage, 30-06 Outdoors, New Breed Archery, Walk-On Archery Targets. And we're very, very blessed to have some really good partners and some really strong relationships, and forming new ones every day.
Well, Doug and Alex and Aiden, thank you so much for sharing some of your time with all our listeners across North America. So on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Awesome, man. We appreciate you taking interest in what we're doing, and all the glory be to God, and thanks for having us.
Hey, listeners, don't forget to text 33444 Food Plot for your free Food Plot ebook. Hey, folks, tune in for the next episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. We're going to head down to North Carolina and connect with Dave Hintzman. Now, Dave is the president of Hands of a Sportsman and Pass It On Outdoors. These two organizations do one thing. They get people out of doors. Women, disabled folks, youth, whoever wants to experience the outdoors, David and his crew make it possible. Sit back, relax, and enjoy hearing about how one man is making a difference in the outdoors.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.